is all we know about Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm Andy.
And I'm Kevin.
Okay, so today what we're going to be talking about is the brand new game. It's the sequel to the reboot. It is, of course, the infamous Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, obviously, what's interesting about this is that it's furthering the chapter of the story of Lara Croft. In this new, obviously, we know that the reboot started off as a fairly immature child. In a certain sense, she's quite young, she's inexperienced, she's not yet Tomb Raider, she's just Lara Croft.
Just how I like them.
We do not endorse that, or maybe, I'm not sure yet. Trademark pending.
She's an attractive woman.
She is very attractive.
She was played by Angelina Jolie.
And that woman is hot, until she had her boobs sliced off. But,
she did. You can't say that.
Fuck it.
She was a testament to women everywhere when she did that.
Yeah, but she's not attractive now. I don't like fake anything. Fake boobs, fake bum, nothing. She's got fake boobs.
It's hard banger, just for her bravery.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. No, not even that. She's still a ridiculously attractive woman.
This has got to be the quickest we've ever got.
Honestly, right? The fact that she did that to me is more appealing. There's nothing worse to me than women who are like, oh no, I would never have my breast cut off. Even though my health is at risk and I could well die, I will never do that. And you're like, you're a stupid cunt. Right? If somebody said to me, you have testicular cancer, you have to have... Testicles are a bit different though.
I'm not having a go for it. I think it was very brave. I'm just saying that I don't find fake boobs attractive. Because she did a brave thing, I'm now compelled to find her attractive. Actually, I like to grab boobs. Well, you know.
Well, it's like a bit of a reach around, isn't it?
Yeah, fun though.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Kids don't watch this. We shouldn't be watching
Yeah,
this.
no,
we should probably put an 18 plus on this, really, shouldn't we?
Probably put an 18 plus on all of them. There's a lot of cunts going around.
It's true. There's a lot of cunts in the air, but there always is.
So it works.
Yeah. So
speaking of which,
that's got to be the quickest we've got. Fuck you. It's got to be the quickest we've gone off subject. Yeah. Right. So anyway, this is the sequel to the awesome reboot of the Lara Croft story. The way to see it is she's not yet the Tomb Raider. I mean, the name correctly says it. Rise of the Tomb Raider sequel is furthering her journey to becoming the girl she's meant to be. You know, I mean, the first game actually almost near the ending with her using her own pistol and a other person's pistol to basically show to the fans when she fires both of them. At the same time, she's back to being the dual-wielding beast that she's famous for being. So, obviously, the second game, you want to know what it's about, and we're willing to tell you what it's about and what we know so far and our theories on it.
What I'm going to start with is, see, you've done a lot of research on the second game, so you're teaching me on that, but you didn't play the first game, but you've seen a bit about it.
No, but I've done my research. I know the first game.
The first game was very, like, the actual gameplay itself was very, it wasn't anti-killing by any sense, but it was killing for need. Like, when she had to kill, she
like Arkham Asylum. Like that sort of, you're not meant to kill, but sometimes
he never kills. Batman never kills anyone.
That's what I'm saying, that sort of...
Yeah, but she actually does kill people.
Fine, Superman. He kills occasionally.
Okay. But she was like killing just to survive really and get through and find out what was going on.
Well, of course she doesn't want to kill, she's an innocent girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, have you seen much of the gameplay?
Yes.
She's like getting arrows, like stabbing in people's throats. It's fucking...
It's because when it's
blood everywhere.
It's because in the first game, I mean, I know for a fact that she has an encounter with a tribal in the first game, and one of the islanders rather, and she's pretty much forced to kill him because he's trying to capture her, and that's the first time she ever kills anyone, and it's quite severe. Obviously now we're seeing her growing up, maturing. She's not yet the Tomb Raider. I've done a lot of research into this. She's still new to it. She's actually, I was going to mention, after the events have happened in the first game, the organisation Trinity have covered up what happened there, so the world still doesn't know about mythical creatures. She is now struggling to maintain her, or rather, she's trying to reinforce her sanity. She's concerned, she's thinking way too much into this, and she's actually worried that she's losing touch with herself because she believes that, or she knows that no one believes her. This is one of the main reasons it's compelled her to now take on one of the roles of the Tomb Raider that she will eventually become, which is to explore and find mythical discoveries. In this game, she's put it upon herself to find the source of immortality by going to find the ancient Siberian city of, I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but it's Katiz, or Katiz, I believe so, Kitties.
It's spelled
Kitties.
Kilo India Tango Echo Zulu Hotel.
Yes.
That's how it's spelled. If you know how to spell that.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah. So someone please help us out. Yeah. So she's going there. So she's in the tundra of Siberia. The city's been lost for centuries. Interesting story plot. Now, the idea of this one is that I think that it's fair to say, I mean, there's not too much been revealed about the storyline, quite rightly as well, but I think that we can safely say here that she's slowly progressing to where she's meant to be. As you said, and as I've seen from the gameplay as well, she's far more accepting of killing people now. It's because she's becoming darker, and also Trinity are evil. So they're an organisation that she's perfectly willing to kill the shit out of, now that she knows what they can do. We don't really know much about the mythical creatures that are going to be in the game, but what we can tell you about the game so far is the map, the free roam and the survival aspect of it, and these are factors that are going to make this game very famous in my opinion, because what's interesting is the map is far, far bigger than the first one. It is also suggested, there's only a few sources on it so far, it's suggested to be far more accessible, less about chapters and more about the open map. You go to different places to do the quest, and also the biggest factor of it is survival, which you can see here, right? So she has to, I mean, in this particular thing, she's already found the dead animal, and actually you see a wolf run past in the video, but she has to scavenge for meat and for flesh, and furs and whatnot, and she has to craft items. She can also use...
Meat and flesh, the same thing.
Meat and fur.
Okay, cool.
Meat
I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
Got a nitpick, don't you? Got a nitpick.
Yeah.
Right, so anyway, she's scavenging, she's going for meat, she's going for fur. There's also other materials she's got to pick up, like you see her snap a branch off and start to utilise that. Various other things. It's far more in-depth survival than in the first game. They know for a fact that people like the survival aspect of it, and now that she's a little bit more experienced, the game designers have obviously thought, let's make it an even more dangerous environment. So you've got Predator's nice one with the snap.
I was going to do it right in front of the mic. If I can. I was going to smash it down as well.
Arsehole.
Okay, I'm sorry. Previous video.
Well,
I'm in the middle.
I'm going to be
Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
I was like...
Yeah, so there's a much larger survival aspect to it. The weather, which I'll cover in a second, is important. She's got to gather different resources from trees, branches, animals. She's got to hunt. There's prey and predators, and especially the predators are a problem because they're also trying to hunt her while she's trying to hunt them. In the mixed field, there's humans and there's mythical creatures that both want her dead. It's going to be very, very interesting. The map, you can see it's quite clearly a Russian tundra. It's an interesting one to go for because what I like about it is it has this atmosphere of, generally, like when it's quiet, you can only really hear the wind, the snow, but because of the mist of the trees and stuff going around, you're always going to feel a little bit on edge.
The other thing is that it may be quiet and you can hear the mist and the snow. And you can hear the snow.
You can hear mist?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not really. It can affect your sound. I suppose, would you hear more clearly? You hear less clearly?
Vibration would technically go through the stuff that's making the
Vibration would travel faster, but it would lose energy quicker.
Ooh.
It's like how if you knock on so sound travels at 330 meters per second in room temperature air, but it travels at like 4,000 meters per second through steel. Yeah. But obviously it can't go through steel as fast as it goes through air. I suppose actually no, you can like if someone bangs on steel, you can hear it fucking ages.
This is not a science channel. For Jason's new science channel, which you'll never look at, click here.
I don't have a science show. I'd like a science show.
Welcome to Wacky Jason's science show.
It's not much of a case of though. If they build it, they'll come. It's like I'll be like there with my one viewer. It's like that, and that one viewer is me checking the stats on the page.
That awkward moment.
Yeah, one like on every video. Right,
I like this.
3 years down the line. One day though.
One day.
There are science channels that are very popular.
Yeah.
I'd recommend the Khan Academy if you're an A-level student trying to do some stuff, or a university student. Still very. I don't know why we're talking about this. Yeah. Tomb Raider!
So, after the first game, she's become a skilled combatant. Or relatively skilled. She knows her way around survival now, which is why she's in this new wilderness, and essentially her skills are being... I feel as if the way they're going to portray her skills are now being put to the test. We're going to see greater creation of a character. I believe because it's called The Rise of the Tomb Raider, by the end of this game, she will be the famous Tomb Raider. She's going to be badass as shit. She's going to be fully ready, full explorer, badass. I said badass once, but
badass again. Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like she's already pretty much there, and this is just the completion of that.
No, see, she's by the end of the first game, at the start of the second game, she's still nervous. She's still uneasy. She's still new to things, and she's a bit clumsy. She's learning, and this game is called Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is going to be what does it for her. She's still, at the end of the day, just one person. She doesn't see herself as this powerhouse of awesomeness. Not that she ever did see herself, but she has not yet become that powerhouse of awesomeness. She's still uneasy, she's still got emotion, whereas Tomb Raider is far more confident than she is. And I feel like by the end of this, we're going to see a true beast arise. And she is a sexy beast, aren't she?
She is. Yeah.
So that's one thing. Now, the environment is brilliant thing that they've done in this. So there is an alternating weather system. Weather travels around, it moves. Time, place, and the weather at that current area massively affect your playing. Because you can actually, if you're at a certain part of the map, at a certain time, with a certain weather, you can find yourself suffering from the effects of ice cold weather, freezing cold. There's also going to be rain, there's suggestions of lightning, and the idea is as well that you need to prepare yourself when you're in these certain areas at certain times. So you can be walking somewhere, and it becomes very, very cold quickly as a blizzard. And it can, in fact, I believe that it hasn't been confirmed, but I reckon it can actually kill your character. You can die from it. It's definitely suggested it could bring harm to her. It would make sense that it can kill her.
Yeah, if you couldn't kill you or damage you, then what's the
It would be a problem, yeah. So here's my thinking on it, is that, that is my thinking. What I'm also saying is that there is actually much more crafting in this game now. So you can build a lot more stuff. And say, for example, if Lara needs a new winter outfit, because she's going into a colder area, she needs a more robust outfit, she will have to find a wolf, kill it, and get its pelt to make that particular
I
outfit.
think that works two ways. Because you know that you can see the Siberian area here, but we also know that there's like a lush land up in the mountain, right?
Yes.
Do you think that she can get exhausted easier if she's wearing winter clothing in a hot area?
Yes.
That'd be quite
I think the environment will have an effect on her. This is, I personally believe that, the environment is going to be very crucial to this, because they've realised that the survival thing worked well in the last Tomb Raider, so they're now adding it to the story of her.
One thing that I quite like, someone who's played the Tomb Raider franchise since I was 8. My mum used to play it on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Good time. For Mother's Day, I actually bought her a PlayStation 1 with all the Tomb Raider games.
That's
so cool. I know. It cost me £25 and she really appreciated it. It's brilliant. It's like a little bit of... one thing I would say is if you go back to the original Tomb Raiders, it's very much... Enemies aren't a big deal. Human enemies are a rarity. Full stop. You don't really come across them. You get the odd jaguar, you get the odd boar, a little bit of wildlife enemies, but other than that...
Tomb Raider Legends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tomb Raider Legends is still quite modernised.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was all puzzles.
Yes.
And I love the puzzle element of Tomb Raider. What they've done now is they've modernised it, and in a good way. Now you've got... I do kind of feel like the puzzles are less than they used to be. I think the puzzles are more of an option. No, in the old game, they were absolutely... There were some puzzles that you had to do as part of the story.
Okay.
Right, but in the old game, because it's open world, the vast majority of the puzzles were things like collectibles and like salvage. In the crafting system in the old game, you'd pick up salvage and you'd use that to build new bows and upgrade your bows.
Well,
and stuff like that.
what they did with the first two of the reboot, the first Tomb Raider of the reboot, and they're doing with this one, is puzzles aren't in the literal sense anymore. The puzzles. So in the last Tomb Raiders, obviously you got to move rocks to a certain point, pull stuff, and then jump on a pedal and all that. In this one now, it's more realistic. So you need to get across a bridge. So you'll see that there's something hanging up there that can land in the way so you can walk across it. So you got to shoot a rope or set it on fire, stuff like that. So it's a bit more realistic.
It's a lot more. You say more realistic. It's a lot more simple. If you look at like a lot of the, you say more realistic. A lot of the other ones would be these massive temples, and it's all like water operated, and then you kind of see how it all works.
You're right.
It gets those mechanics going, those cogs. I mean, even Tomb Raider Legends had that level where you had the. I don't know if you guys remember this. You had the crates in the water. Remember that? And you had to flick them up with the seesaw?
Yes.
Yeah, that had the jaguar.
That was really fucking difficult.
And that was a nightmare.
There was a jaguar when you walked in, and then there was that you had to kill.
You had to work on moments. So there's a physics principle called moments. So the further out something is away from a lever. So you've got your pivot here, and you've got your lever across the thing. The further away it is from the pivot, the greater the moment of the energy applies onto the object, and so it throws it further.
That's cool.
So what you'd want to do is you'd want to put the object, so the crate, when you're trying to fling it over, literally right up to the edge, wouldn't you? And then you jump on the other end of the seesaw so it would go further and actually land on the thing.
Okay.
Right? That's really like quite
clever.
Clever. You have to think about it. And I was young, I had to be fucking ages to figure that out. Whereas now, I'd like the puzzles to be more involved in the main story. I like the idea that they've kept the puzzles in, but the puzzles are now an optional extra. They're still there.
You still need them to get through the campaign.
Yeah, but they're smaller puzzles.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
The good puzzles, like the really interesting ones, are an optional extra, and I can see why they've done that.
Right.
Because your average person is looking at it and going, I want an open world game, I want to be killing lots of human enemies, really like gripping story, etc., etc. And puzzles just aren't that. Puzzles aren't a gripping story.
Here's what I'd say about the last Tomb Raider games. All very good games. I've played 4 or 5 of them over the course of my life. I suppose you could call it that, if you want to call it that.
Your career of games?
Career of games, yeah. Whenever are we already alive, honestly? I mean, Matrix. But
okay.
I don't know where I was going with that. Here's what I will say. They were much more heavily puzzle orientated. And what can we see with that is that Lara Croft games saw a gradual decline in popularity. And to the point where the company that produced them all faced bankruptcy a couple of times. The games died out for a couple of phases. They had a couple of spaces where they essentially died out for a while. Reboots before have failed because they were still similarly to sale. They were not good. This is This is probably the most successful reboot. Now that's because it's brought into the modern time. You still have the option of puzzles. So puzzles are a small part of the campaign. Like you said, they are an optional part for collectibles. So there's still the puzzles there, and everyone loves collectibles. And then you've also got a more effective combat system. There's more humans, and there's also more mythical creatures. And at the same time, they've now added in a survival aspect, which is, what is strange, is that it is everything that works for Lara Croft, yet it has never been implemented into Lara Croft. The survival aspect fits her perfectly, because she's a resourceful woman. She's down to earth. She's very intelligent, and yet it's never been put in. You could argue that the survival is a puzzle in itself. The fact that you have to work out to do things. What I was saying earlier about the werewolf. No, there are no werewolves. Well, there might be. There are wolves.
Probably no.
There are wolves, and the idea behind that is that wolves will only come out at a certain time of day and only during a certain weather pattern. I believe it's if there is a blizzard, they won't come out. It might be the other way around, as in they go to hunt things that can't see during a blizzard, but I can't quite remember. Anyway, so you need the right place, the right time, and the right weather going on, so that you can hunt an animal, so you can get the crafting items needed to survive in different environments. So it is, in a sense, a puzzle. I think that they might introduce something like you have to go into an area that has a harsh environment. To do that, you need to work out how to survive there, which means eventually you've got to work out you need a code. Then got to work out how to get it.
You will, with cold environments, you will already know that you need a code. But with different kinds of environments, you're going to think, I'm geared up, and you're not going to be geared up, and I like that.
Yeah, I can imagine that there's perhaps a more durable waterproof coat for areas where it's quite tropical, because people don't realise, if your clothing's soaked, they don't realise how much that fucks you if you're in an actual...
You'll die in a couple of hours,
fucking British SAS soldiers have died because they crossed the lake and then they weren't able to get dry by night time. Yeah. It's hypothermia is a bitch.
What I'd say about this is, like I said before, modernised version of the old games. I love it. Aside from the puzzle thing, I like they kept the puzzles in, and because I like getting all the achievements, I'll absolutely do all the puzzles. Okay. Tomb Raider is one of those games where I always like 100%, but I never do.
Okay.
But I probably will in this time. I like to think.
Right. Well, it's interesting that we quickly talked about hypothermia, because that brings me on to another point. Can your person get too cold? So, in a sense, do they need to, anywhere, even without a jacket or in particularly cold areas, do they occasionally need to warm themselves?
Do you know how they find the vast majority of hypothermia victims?
Go on.
They find them stark naked.
Yeah.
So I hope that we do.
Every single Lara Croft game that's ever come out has been modded so that you can see her naked.
She's a bit weird.
Yeah. Even she used to have triangle boobs in 1998. She had triangle boobs.
My mum used to joke, and this is a weird thing to talk about. My mum used to joke that she used to have triangle boobs, but you know when she'd like, jump onto a ledge and she'd smash her chest into them, she'd say years of doing that has ground them down. I was like, thanks, mum.
That's quality.
I'm 12.
Jesus, man.
As you get more polygons, they sort of like round out a bit. I just don't get me wrong. Like, I
like the idea that you can start a fire and make shelter. There is actually
just going back to your point about naked Lara Croft. I don't think we were quite done. I am much of the persuasion. I don't know. You can call me perverted if you will. If there's an attractive woman and I can see her naked, I'm gonna go and see her naked.
It's true.
It's just what I'm gonna do. Bit weird. I appreciate that.
It's true.
Whatever you guys say, most of you men know what I'm talking about.
You should see his sister.
What?
Your sister's...
Yeah, but from what I was just talking about, and you didn't react.
Well, you said if there's an attractive woman, you'll go for it. Your sister's attractive. I went for it.
How badly did you get rejected?
There you go. To be fair, I kept making jokes to him that I was going to shag his sister, so he actually told his sister. Didn't go well.
Yeah, I know. Good time. Whereas his sister actually wanted to bang me.
No, she fucking did.
I just realised the potential audiences and videos and stuff. No?
Oh, yeah, no, good point.
Good point. A few miles away, it's fine. Anyway.
A few miles away, he's got it.
He's running. This makes no sense to anybody watching.
No.
I'm afraid that his dad's going to come beat me up. That's basically what it is, because I said that his sister wanted to bang me. What are you going to do? You know? I'll take my lumps. It's fine.
He's coming for you.
Okay, we can move on.
Moving on. Right, so as you can see in the back, there's a shelter. It's from the video I was watching. It looks like she made it herself. So I like the idea you can build a shelter, you can build a fire. It feels very. We were talking about the forest in another game. It feels very foresty. For any of you that play The Forest, it's
It's a
independent. It's an independent survival game. Great AI, great ideas of building structures around you using the environment.
If you are a quick to learn PC gamer who's doesn't give up easily, give it a go.
Yeah.
If you give up very easily, I'd like to say like I do, you play it, you'll enjoy it for like 2 hours, and you'll be like, I'm so sick of dying.
And if it's true, and if you get stressed out or scared by people constantly coming off,
It is a scary game.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really. It's not like you're in an enclosed space and the things themselves are scary. It's just like you turn around and there's 3 cannibals looking at you.
Yup.
And they're all standing there, and then they judge you up. One of them will charge you, and then stop like 2 meters in front of you and go, "Nah, he's not scared." They'll be like, right, then they run away, and you're like, "Shit, they're coming back with more."
At first, I didn't realise that you have to light an area within a place you've made safe to stop cannibals spawning there. So I built this great big wall, and it was on the ledge of a cliff next to the beach as well, so it was safe as shit. Built it, and then I put down a little garden, and I was doing my garden, it was night time, and I hear a footstep, and I turn around, and there's one in me looking at me like that, and I went, honestly.
This is one of the scariest parts, is when they first started the game, there's these mutants that had like 8 legs, and like huge and were charging, but they wouldn't charge you because the AI was fucked, so they just stand still. And when you first die, they drag you underground into a cave network, and you wake up in the middle of the darkness, and you can just see one of them standing there. Like all these, it's like 10 human bodies glued together. That's what it looks like. And you stand there, and you're just sitting there like, fuck yes. And you look up, and because it's like a crashed aeroplane, it's all really good graphics as well.
Yep.
You just see like 50 people hanging from the ceiling, all different body parts and stuff like that. And you're like, oh fuck. And you've got this axe, and like fighting in that game was hard as well.
Yeah.
The normal cannibals could annihilate you.
Yeah,
and
you're very careful.
At this massive monster of flesh, and you're like,
It's true.
I can't get out of here. You're like running, like trying to find a way out. The other ones, they slept standing up.
Yeah,
Remember that?
they did, yeah.
They'd be like this, and you'd be like crouching
mate.
like right next to it, like, I've got to get past it.
Yeah.
Shit.
They can climb trees now, found it.
Yeah, no, they could before.
Oh.
So they'd climb trees, and they'd be sitting in the trees, and they'd watch you from the top of the trees.
Yep.
And what would happen is, as you walk past them, they'd drop down from the tree, run along behind you, and climb up another fucking tree.
Yep.
And like, carry on watching you. And you're like, because then you start your society, you're like, they don't know I'm here.
Yeah.
And it turns out some cunt's been following you for like
Yeah.
45 minutes.
That's interesting. They actually won't turn up, like, until they find you, they won't know where you are. So, as in, if you manage to sneak past them for like 6 hours gameplay, you could build a whole place and they will not know you're there, and they will never turn up.
If you go straight to like an island,
Yeah.
and you start transporting wood across or whatever and build your house over there, you could actually live without even seeing them.
Interesting. Anyway, we'll move back onto this. So this is a survival game. Obviously, you can build your own mini chateau, and chateau. She's got a fire set up outside. I presume you can obviously cook meat in it. I would love it if this game had the requirement of food and water. I think that'd be a fantastic addition. Do you not think?
Maybe food, not water.
Well, the fact that she was going up to a deer earlier, I mean, she could have just been getting fur off of it or turning its skin to some form of leather.
They won't do food and water. Do you know why they won't do food and water?
Why?
Because you spend too long inside these dungeon systems.
Right.
And the whole point is, let's say you got it's also a checkpoint saved game, as far as I remember. It may well be saved now, but let's say that you are 3 hours inside this puzzle system where you've got all these traps and like that. You're trapped in the room you're in, right?
Okay.
You can't get out. You've got no food. You've got no water, and you're dying. You get stuck.
That might be a consequence you have to face.
Yeah, but you would then have to start a new game
Not necessarily.
if you hadn't saved properly.
Not necessarily.
Go on.
Or maybe it's your fault if you hadn't saved.
Yeah, sure, you could argue that, but that possibility is generally games' attempt to avoid it.
Okay, but there are... No, I'm not
They don't like the idea of you doing 10 hours into their game, out of 12, let's say it's 12 hours gameplay, and then you get stuck somewhere, so you have to start again. Because it puts you off of the game.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. However, I would say that it's possible because they've heavily emphasised survival in the way that they've actually introduced a game mode around it. So I was about to jump onto that anyway. After the game's release, there will be content that comes out with three new game modes. The 3 new game modes are Cold Darkness. This is very cool. It's a survival mode. You go against waves and waves of infected predators. Not sure exactly what that means. I presume it means like, big animals and they've got some sort of disease. Waves and waves of that is survival. After that, they've then also got Baba Yaga, which is a new temple to explore. So that's, I'd imagine, be filled with puzzles so that it appeals to that fan base. And then the final one, which goes on to what we were talking about, Endurance mode, which is a tougher survival mode. No, I think what they're going to do there is it will be a little bit. I'm guessing it's going to be like a hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas. I think that it will be either the ability to play the campaign or without the campaign and just on the map, you facing worse perils. So I think cold's going to have more of an effect. I think that the predators are more dangerous, and I think that there will be food and water needs.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, but in survival probably.
Because it's separate from the campaign, it's a new mode.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Those game modes sound interesting. I wonder when they're going to come out.
Yes, I haven't actually done much research into when the DLC is coming out. I don't believe it's immediately after, but I will talk about some of the things that are winding us up. So, there is no...
Can I just talk about number one that winds me up?
Okay.
Does anybody know the release date of it? You guys? I love the Tomb Raider franchise. I love it, right? And
this is a big mistake.
And I got the last game on release. I played the shit out of it. This game is released on
the 10th of November, which for any of you that aren't aware or are bad people, is the same day that Fallout 4 is coming out.
Which I just, even though I own an Xbox One, I just spent £470 to buy the Pip-Boy edition with an Xbox One. I bought all this extra shit because I just couldn't face not having it.
What the hell is the creative developer of this game thinking when he's going, do you know when this were? It wouldn't be him. When
it would be like the ad
Microsoft
guys.
Or,
no, it would be like the... Would it be PR people who might do it, the release date?
Microsoft could be the ones doing it.
Possibly, yeah. What are they doing?
Okay. Yeah, so they've gone, oh no, let's bring it out on the same day that the most anticipated game, not ever, but the most anticipated game this year is coming out.
Do you think they knew when Fallout was coming out when they said the release date?
If they did, they're idiots.
They probably didn't.
That's true.
It was at the same conference.
Do you reckon they were just unloaded them just going, fuck!
Yeah, you're like, delay week.
Yeah.
I imagine so many games did that.
So now the game shops are going to be packed to the brim on the 10th of November, and no one will be buying this game, they will all be buying Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Bad choice. They should have left it at least a month after. Or a week before.
If it was a week after, I'd have got it.
Do you reckon?
If it was a week after, I'd get it.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about Battlefront. I wouldn't get Battlefront a week after. It's a week before, you're probably right on. I'd get it a week before. That said, then you've got to compete with Halo. It's a hard time of year.
But because it's a game where it's more linear, although there is free roam in it, because it's quite linear, you could play it for the week before Fallout, just to get you through. Do you know what I mean? So you could buy it for...
I think the whole point of this is that it's not linear.
Yeah, I know. I've just said that. So it's free roam of that, but the actual campaign is linear. So what you can always do is you can go onto it, smash the campaign, then get onto your Fallout, and then go back to it later.
I want to sink my teeth into this though. Like, if I'm going to 100% this, we're talking 100 hours?
Do you reckon?
So 100% all the achievements.
I don't think it'd be 100
All the achievements.
No.
All the achievements on any game.
I think that all the achievements in the campaign would be about 60 hours.
6-0?
Yes.
I doubt that.
You
always get at least one achievement where it's like, this achievement is on its own 15 hours.
I think that the campaign can be done in, I'm going to say 10 hours. That would be my prediction.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. So I would say the campaign can be done in 10 hours. So, yeah, 50 hours is a fair amount of time for the achievements.
Yeah. Have you ever 100%? Have you ever 100% it again?
Fallout 3.
Right. Okay. Fallout 3 is a bad example because you and I both spent like hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
I spent just over a solid 1,000 hours on that game.
Yeah, there you go. I probably spent about. I think it was like 900 or something like that. And that game, getting all the fucking bobbleheads along was just something else, wasn't it? Remember that? That's terrible. Well, terrible. I loved it.
Yeah.
But that game had some seriously hard achievements. I mean, if you tried to 100% that game for achievements, you would spend, if you were just solidly doing it for achievements, at least 200 hours, at the very least.
Okay, maybe.
To 100% any game, so like Rise.
Son of Rome.
Right, Son of Rome, yeah? As I've got 2,000 games score on that game.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a bad example because obviously it's... But I really enjoyed that game. I think I have 120 hours, 130 hours on it. Yeah.
Solid.
But a lot of that's the multiplayer, and the one thing with the multiplayer is once you get good at the multiplayer, you can just fucking speed rank it. You know?
Really?
I got to rank 200.
Is it competitive, multiplayer?
No, you play together against loads of others. You should definitely play that game. It's brilliant.
I do need to. It's probably quite cheap now, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, honestly, you could just play it right there.
Oh, you've got yours, haven't you?
Well,
have you got it in disc or did you just download it?
Download it. Yeah, you can always play it.
That actually ties in quite well to what I was about to say about the multiplayer of this. So,
I know. Segue.
The multiplayer that was in the first game will not be coming to the second game. There is no competitive multiplayer. Now, that doesn't really seem like an issue to many people, and I have to agree with them. The multiplayer wasn't viewed well. It was seen as a nice little addition, but that's not what you come to play Lara Croft. Or come to play Tomb Raider.
It's like multiplayer in Gears, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Gears was a little bit better because it was foremost a shooting game. Putting Lara Croft into that situation is not, it's just not. it didn't. People saw it as it was okay, but it wasn't necessary. So people aren't particularly bothered about that. There have been a few sources that have suggested that it's because they wanted to focus more on the survival aspect of the game mode, which again is a fair justification in this situation. But they will be introducing 3 new game modes after launch, and as well as that, they will also be bringing in a couple of multiplayer, like not quite multiplayer. Basically, they're bringing in the 2 new games which are sort of semi-multiplayer. Now, the one that I want to talk about, and I can't verify this right now. I've only got this from one source recently, and I haven't been able to verify it, but I believe that they're right, which is called Remnant Resistance, which is the idea that you can create a multiplayer game or challenge with puzzles and enemies and stuff like that, and then you can put it online to the community, and people in the community and your friends can play it and try and complete it. It reminds me a little bit, even though they're entirely different games, of how you can make a game in Little Big Planet and then get your friends to play it and stuff like that. So that has been suggested to me by one main website, and someone else has talked about it briefly. I haven't been able to verify if that's actually what they're doing. If they are and someone knows about that, I'd really like to hear about that. But it's an interesting idea.
I just want to comment on your English. I agree. No, it's a very interesting idea.
What's my English problem?
There is microtransactions. It's like
Well, we haven't got to that bit though.
It's like the text in Fallout New Vegas when you've got 0 intelligence.
That's correct. There is
Is microtransaction singular or plural? Plural.
There are
microtransactions. Sorry. By the way, if you go there, there are microtransactions. We don't know the details of them. We imagine it's going to be like 60p for this skin.
I've seen or 60 cents if you're our buddies in the US.
Oh, it'd be like 90 cents, wouldn't it?
No, because they never whatever it is in America, they will keep that same amount in the UK, even though UK money's worth more.
This to you all the time. This is going to be my.
This is going to be my little thing to the
I'm going to
internet.
leave it to this.
Right. I'm going to turn the sensitivity down this so it doesn't get too loud for you. Has anybody ever noticed, right, that a US game is $60 and in the UK we have to pay £55 for it, even though £1 is worth $1.50, so we should only have to pay 40. What's the world at? Why do we have to do that? Why does it go that way? It's silly. You have to pay more for a downloaded game off of Xbox Live than you do for the disc. You could buy the disc for the Star Wars Battlefront, right, on Amazon, first hand, from the developer, is £43. Or £55.99. $54.99 if you want to get a digital download. Makes no sense. Change it, World. Change it. I don't know how we're going to change it. But
And you know what's also interesting?
Yeah.
Is that when you buy it by disc, you physically own the game. When you buy it, when you download it, you aren't actually the technical owner of that game. In fact,
you're leasing it.
You're paying more for it. And in fact, the company, or rather the console that you own, actually can take the game back off you.
Yeah, I know.
Which makes me wonder, why am I paying more for a game I don't technically own?
Yeah, it's a silly thing. But I said I was going to do everything digital, other than Fallout 4, which I'm getting a steelbook of. It just makes no sense. The other thing is, they haven't got to do any shipping. They haven't got to pay for it to go into a shop. They haven't got to pay for making disc, any artwork, blah, 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 blah. But I think I know what it actually was. I think it was... I might get a bit out. I think it was the Xbox people going, oh, we're going to sell games on the digital store for £40. And then all the game companies, or the game stores are like, we're not going to sell shit if it's dirt cheap. If you do that, we're not selling your consoles.
It's a good show.
And then the game companies Microsoft's like, okay, fine, £55.
I also think that what comes into factor is that they believe that people will pay for the convenience of not having to leave their house.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like trekking to town to buy a game.
But do you know what the main thing is for me? One of the main reasons I like digital download.
Go on.
I'm sitting there. I used to love this on Xbox 360 when I first started downloading. I'm sitting there. I'm playing Batman, for example, right? And I'm like, actually, I fancy a little bit of The Witcher.
Okay.
Hit my home button, games, Witcher.
Okay.
Simple as. I don't even have to get off my fat ass. I can just sit down and do it.
That's pretty cool.
You know? It's like Steam.
Is it worth the money you're paying for and the fact you don't technically own it?
If they it's one of those things where I don't technically own it, and technically they could revoke it from me, but there is a license agreement.
Yeah.
But they can't do that unless I breach it.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where they could have one of those. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Some contracts, in theory, can have clauses in them which void the contract from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that they can break their end of the agreement whenever they want to, and they assume you haven't read the terms and conditions, so you can't.
Okay.
They only ever do that if you're not paying a subscription. So it's only if you give them the money right at first, then they'll do that so they can void their end and bring the game back.
Yeah.
Like mods in GTA 5.
Okay.
You know, if you download GTA 5 on the PC and you play online and you modded it, they can just take your copy. They can back basically. Like your copy will just get ruined. Whereas if it's like a subscription, so like when I work at O2, there is nothing. If you void that contract, if you can't really void that contract as a consumer.
Yeah.
You can't really do it. You're pretty much just stuck in it
You're
for
fine.
2 years. Yeah. Whereas if you paid up front, they're like, yeah, go on, void it. See what happens.
Yeah.
You know, you get right fucked up.
That's true. Yeah, no, it's interesting. But back to what we were saying about
Tomb Raider.
microtransactions.
Yeah.
Is I have seen a couple of brief pictures, and it looks like what you'll be able to do is buy better pickaxes, better clothing, better weaponry, just better additions, little bits and bobs that you can add to your character. Everything from outfits that look good to actually have some practicality, which is annoying to me because I think
I was
that
just about to go. You're saying it's a positive thing, and I'm sitting
No.
there going, bastards!
yeah, which is annoying to me because I feel like this is the thing. I feel like over the last 10 years, more stuff that should be in the game when you buy it is taken out, so you can buy it later. So you've now got to put. So with this game, obviously, and don't get me wrong, it's going to be a good game, but it's like, oh, do you want more stuff to do? You can buy it. And oh, do you want some more stuff to carry around with you during the campaign? You can buy it. It's like, why is this not in the game?
What's annoying me, the main thing that goes with me, is I want to get a game like this. I'm very much about progression.
Yeah.
I want to get the game. I want to start off with shit stuff, and I want to end up with the best stuff.
Yep.
I don't want to go in and be like, oh, I've got a pickaxe, I can mine everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in there and go, oh, I've got everything, I've got the best thing, but there is a better thing if I want to pay real
Yeah.
money for it. You know? It kind of ruins the game.
I feel like a war is coming in the next 10 years between people who want to put microtransactions in their games and modders. Because if there is a game that is moddable, anything that they would suggest through a microtransaction, you can essentially make in a mod.
But the people who make the games could say that modding that you can make it so you legally can't mod a game. And
This
there's a
is
new
why
thing,
I'm saying there's a war coming.
But what could modders be back?
Well, right. Modders, obviously, and I absolutely love this, modders want freedom in games. They want to be able to change the game to how they want it. Modders don't normally charge either. That's what the vast majority of mods you don't have to pay for. There are a few.
They're probably doing it for their resume more than anything, yeah.
Yeah, and as well as that, they enjoy when we like it when people give us good response.
Yeah,
about
it's like us on
website.
this site, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know anything out of it.
But the thing is, because it means that games can't sell as much content because people can make it, they get pissy about it, game designers. So not necessarily game designers, the companies that own them. And it's on a small scale now because microtransactions they're not new, but they're expanding. And at the same time, the modding community is becoming more and more popular, especially now when mods being able to come onto the Xbox One.
Microtransactions are one of the biggest things in gaming
Yes.
because people hate this fact, but the mobile gaming, and I hate this fact as well, the mobile gaming
Yeah.
niche is no longer a niche. It's huge. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you think about Fallout Shelter,
Yeah.
it had one possible microtransaction you could do.
Yeah.
And in the first 2 weeks, $5.2 million.
Yeah.
Right? That's like, they've had their own free advertising because they released
Yeah.
a little game and they made profit from
But-
advertising, you know?
The thing is, for quite a while, modding and microtransactions haven't got in the way of each other because they generally stay to their own territory. Microtransactions don't normally come into free-roam games, and modding generally stays to free-roam games and strategy games. That is changing now. You've now got mods expanding into everything from first-person shooters to online with people to GTA, although it was technically a free-roam game. You've now got microtransactions coming into games that are survivals so that you can buy more stuff to help you in your journey of survival. There's going to be a clash, and the modding community, although they have very little power, is going to rebel. There won't be much they can do, but they can obviously, it can bring up a huge amount of anger. People have the modders' backs as well. The modders have the support of the people because they don't believe there should be a war fought because of the fact that one company wants to make more money when a modder can make it for free for you. It's coming. It's good. There's going to be a clash, and I'm worried that modding is going to become harder and harder to do in games. They're going to make it difficult to do in games.
What you look at is, if you look at the music industry,
Yep.
when internet first started becoming a big thing, a bit before my time.
What's the internet?
I don't know. We're not on it.
Hmm?
No. Anyway, when it first started becoming a big thing, one of the first things that came big was piracy. Obviously, I'm not about the cool kind of piracy, the shits and stuff. I mean, like,
That's not piracy.
have you seen horrible bosses?
No.
Where they're trying to kill their bosses and they talk to, I think it's Wesley Snipes in a bar, It's like, apparently this guy's just got out of prison. He's like a real hard nut.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they're talking for a while, and he tells them how to like set up the hits and everything like that.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like later on, it's all fucked up. They're like, "What do you go to prison for?" He goes, "Piracy." What, movie piracy?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's true.
Yeah, but anyway, as piracy came around in the music business, artists like Metallica
Yep.
tried to sue everyone, basically. And it didn't work, because you can't.
Yep.
Because things like Pirate Bay, you take it down, it pops up. Take it down, pops up.
Yep.
Different domains, right? You just can't control it. It's one of those
Yep.
things. What has happened is the music industry has evolved around it.
Yep.
You know? They've made it, like, watching something on YouTube is free.
Yep.
But artists can still make money off of it. You try to get round piracy. If you look at, I can't remember, I think it was Iron Maiden. I could be entirely wrong with that. Or was it Motley Crue or something? Well, probably not Motley Crue, probably Iron Maiden. What they did, they to adapt to it, they planned their gigs where their songs are being pirated the most.
Okay.
So they'd see where they're being pirated the most and they'd go there. It's a very similar thing with the modding community. So if you look at modding community, it's not necessarily pirating at the moment. But let's say you could buy this pickaxe or you could mod it in if you're on the PC, right? You mod it in on the PC because you're not only paying £2 when you can get it for free.
Yep.
Right? You eventually get to the point where developers, rather than trying to, you eventually the modder's going to win because they can't just tackle. You just can't get rid of all the modders. It's not that. If you get rid of modders, people aren't going to be as interested in the game.
Yep.
You reduce your sales. So they could either change a license agreement, so if you mod, you lose your copy of the game.
Yep.
Right? If they find that, and they can check that with Windows 10, it checks all of your files to make sure that to see whether they've been changed.
Okay.
We've got legal priorities. Or they can either do that, or they can embrace the modding community, let the modders have things like small cosmetic items, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and focus on big DLC.
Okay. I have a couple of issues with the way you're comparing it to music. Firstly, the music industry was losing that war, whereas
It did lose that war.
yeah, exactly. And this is what I'm saying: is the music industry as well as that, they now have two fallbacks, which is what make up essentially the bulk of their money now, which is concerts, and which piracy can't take away. And as well as that, people like the authenticity of buying a disc or a record.
Sure.
Right? Now, when it comes to modding, the modders cannot win this fight because at the end of the day, you can design a game so that it's first of all more difficult to mod, and second of all, you can be much more stringent over protecting a game with it being modded. For example, anywhere that because basically modders are quite well known, or prominent ones are. If they mod something and the game finds out, they can really fucking shut them down.
Yeah.
And another thing I would say as well is that the gaming industry here, because they have the ability to push this back, they're not going to allow a slip away of funds. What they would rather do, like you're saying, that if they get rid of the modders, they're going to suffer from it. Correct. What they would do instead is they would either severely limit or essentially say, no, you can't mod these bits. So the modders are still active, but only in the areas they want them to be, where they don't care if they add stuff. Or the other point would be is that they would actually, and I thought about this before, game designers hiring modders to essentially be modders that do exactly what they want them to do.
But you're always going to get modders who are freelance and just want to do stuff on top.
Yeah, and they'll rain hellfire down on them. If this is where I think the world's going, they can't right now, but I think they will.
What you're looking at is, with the music industry, it found symbiosis. You found money in record sales just dropped because you can get it for free.
Yeah.
Okay? So they looked at other ways of making money, other things that they were already doing. I imagine microtransactions is a big chunk of money, but you can either fight a very expensive war and make yourself look like shit. I mean, if tomorrow the production company behind Tomb Raider, I can't remember what they're called.
No, I don't know off the top of my head.
If tomorrow they took somebody's license away for the game, if they downloaded it on Steam because they modded it,
Yep.
people would fucking lose their shit.
You say that, but they're doing that on GTA.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and people are not happy about it.
Yep.
The reason why they get away with that on GTA is because they only do it if you do it in your online game.
Yep.
That way, it's like, fair enough, you've got an economy that you're trying to uphold.
Yeah.
Right? If you did it as a single player game,
What?
people would be like, who does this affect?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, our bank balance. And people would be like, you bastards! And they'd go after them.
Yep.
And they'd get dragged through the shit. And everyone would be like, oh, Tomb Raider's developers a bunch of cunts.
Yeah.
Right? So what you've got to look at is there is definitely, they've got to find this symbiosis, which, if anyone doesn't know, but like two people working together, like helping each other.
Well, I like that Bethesda have embraced the modders. That's what I've said before.
Well, they tried to
They did.
dodge, didn't they?
They did, and it didn't go well. And now,
No, it didn't.
and now they're one of the best known games for modding because you've pretty much got freedom.
Yes, you do.
we shouldn't be talking about this. We are actually talking about Fallout later. So why
Every video we've done today is talking about Fallout.
yeah, we are actually talking
move
about
on
Fallout
with
later.
Tomb Raider. Move on with Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Those are basically the main points that I wanted to say. So there is no competitive multiplayer. There will be a couple of new semi sort of multiplayer games. There's going to be 3 new modes that they're going to bring in as DLC, I believe. I could be wrong on that actually. She's going for the Lost City of Kittiz, whatever it's called. To find the root of immortality. Not for herself, she wants to discover it because she's trying to find other mythical elements in the world so that she can essentially reinforce her own sanity. Obviously, she's still going to be battling Trinity. That would be my guess. She's still going to be fighting Trinity. They're a big organisation. Various other factors like that. I think that essentially covers what we think about it so far. And also, I said that my speculation would be this is going to be a very survival emphasised game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've got to say, I probably will wait till I've gotten a decent chunk out of Fallout before I play it.
Oh, absolutely.
But after that's done,
Fallout's the real survival game.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Then it's Tomb Raider for me, and I'm going to be jumping on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we end,
Go.
just quickly, I'd like to give a shout out to Bowlesby, who's been working on some banners, logo, and designs from us. A guy from the community.
Cheers, dude. He's actually got on that.
Yeah, he's got on that. God, just got an email from him. Yeah, he's saying that he wants to go ahead with it.
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy. You're
pleasure to talk to you. Yeah.
awesome.
Shout out, man. And if you want to see what Bowlesby's doing,
yeah,
we're going to put a link to his channel in the description. And if you want to hear more from us, we're going to put links to Facebook, Twitter, and obviously sub to the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Give it a like.
Give us a like on our Facebook page. Give us a follow us on Twitter. Check out our website. And that is all we know about Lara Croft, the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, pleasure as always. See you later, guys.